Please stop. Camera, go. Hey everybody, it's Tanner. Welcome back to another video of shooting a short film on film. We're doing part 3 or day 3 of 4 days shooting my short film called Lone Mountain. Yes, we are shooting this on glorious 16mm film. This was one of the craziest and most exciting days, I think, of the 4 days. But stay to the end, you're gonna see how we were in the race against the clock at the very last minute before sun going down on one of the most beautiful, amazing locations of this entire film. If you haven't seen the last 2 videos that I put out about this film, go watch this video just to kind of recap. It's really kind of do or die at this point. Day 1, we were behind. We had issues like generators breaking. We had a car accident at the beginning. We were late to the set. We were really kind of running around with our heads cut off. Day 2 rolls along. We came out with a new game plan, and we did catch up in a lot of ways, but then we had that major incident that happened with the local running on our set and threatening our makeup artist and actress. In addition to that, as you know if you've been watching these videos, we are running low on film. This is a reality that we're facing now with day 3, and we had actually ordered another 4 rolls of film, doubling the amount of film that we had. By day 3, it still hadn't arrived, so we were just going off of the kind of rationed out 4 rolls of 400 feet each. That's about 58 minutes or so of runtime, and this is going to be about a 15-minute film. So it sounds like a lot of time, but we were finding out very quickly that it really wasn't enough for this, even for this small short. And we had to make one of the most excruciating decisions at the end of the last video, which was to use my RED Scarlet-W to be our B camera to shoot sequences of the film digitally. In the end, we knew if we continued to shoot at this ratio, at this way, and with the time we had left, we were not going to be able to get everything we needed to have a finished film in the can. And with the amount of film that we had our period character of this film. We wanted to continue to shoot as much as we could on film with him to maintain that same aesthetic that we've been shooting with thus far for the first 2 days. And now the third day had come along. We were going to be bringing on our new modern day character in the story, where he's set in today, and we thought maybe we could shoot all of his sequences not in film, shoot them digitally. We'll be able to save most of the film to be used for our main character. So going down a little bit into the goals of the day, we were going to be going for the first time to 2 new locations. We're going to be moving around a lot in this, so we had less room for error for us to get things done because we had to pick up and go. Looking at the schedule, we had 14 scenes. We had 3 actors, and that's basically every player in this film. There's 3 characters only. 3 actors, 14 scenes, 29 shots is what I have on the call sheet. Our day player, our modern day character, whose name is Mills, he's being played by Beau Linnell, who's a very awesome, experienced actor based out of Montana. He is our SAG actor, so he's in part of the union. He just joined when this all happened, so we had to be very mindful of his hours, make sure he wasn't going overtime. If he was, we were documenting that.
And let's have Dreamy team take that down, and then Tanner, Alex, Beau, let's go look at where you want to do the compass. What do we need for time? Let's go ahead and schedule.
Ooh, that's a little branch in front of there. Yes. Things we get excited about. I know.
Always someone's rolling. Oh, we are rolling BTS on this one.
Like 6 grown men around the compass.
That's Jordan when that twig fell on it. That twig fell on it. Okay.
Now, whatever I say in this video about shooting digitally, I know there's a lot of filmmakers watching this that are all in on digital. In fact, the majority of people are shooting on digital. That's why I'm making a series about shooting on film, because it's so infrequent that happens. And after all this experience, I know why people do digital. And I just want to make that disclaimer. Digital's awesome. There's so many great movies, so many great films shot digitally. It's a great format. But because the series is about shooting a film on film, and I have digital in this, I just hope people don't think, wait a minute, this guy's lying to me. What do you mean he's shooting on the RED? Like, this is all about shooting on film. Go to the other video and see why we had to do it. It was out of necessity to save the film, and I wish it didn't have to end up happening that way. But I figured there's some great things that we can learn from this, doing both. And so let's talk about the main difference of these formats. And my brother Alex was still not super stoked about shooting digitally. It was just a sad realization, like here we are now in this film, and I'm seeing the RED logo here, and I'm not seeing the big magazine behind it and hearing it and whatever. But talking about the film side, film is finite. You have a physical, tangible, weighted amount of actual film that you can run through, and you'll run out eventually. that alone does so much downwind as far as your process, your planning, your shot selection, the amount of coverage you do, the attention to details that people have on set, the heightened experience when it comes when you're rolling, because you know that every second going by is, so you just feel this clock that's just stacked up against you.
How different it felt to be shooting on digital. All of a sudden, you're just not worried about the time anymore. We had hours of card space that we could use, but it's really interesting when it's the same project and then you use the different formats and you really get to see those differences between each format. So like on film, it was a very specific ritual we would do before we do a take.
A lot of people and a lot of DPs probably hate that idea. They hate the feeling of that impending doom of them as they are running out slowly. I kind of love that feeling. I kind of really, I'm not the one shooting it, so I don't have to be the one, metering and doing all the DP stuff on that. But so it's less stressful for me. But as a director, as someone working with talent, working with crew, and trying to get the ship all together when it comes to the time of saying action and being all in one for a take, there's no better way of making that happen and making everyone peak in that moment than doing it on film. And that's my biggest thing I love about shooting on film, is that everyone feels that weight. We're obviously a bunch of novices when it comes to shooting on film, so it had an additional sense of like magnitude of like, this is a huge moment. And it never got old. I literally feel like we got less stressed out about it, but it never got old. Every time shooting on film, it was just a very truly a special experience of every roll, every take, every shot, every pickup shot, coverage shot. It just felt a little magical that way. We went with rehearsals over takes, obviously, so you rehearse, then you go for a take. Maybe you do a first take just to try it out after blocking and to see what magic you can get in a bottle, but we didn't really have a lot of opportunity to do that because we were so precious with our takes. The downside of film, obviously, is you're shooting kind of blind. We're seeing on our feed, we have a video tap that allows us to watch through the basically the viewfinder, the reflex of the, but you don't know what it looks like really. You're really looking at a picture of a picture kind of thing, and we don't really know how it's coming across, what our exposure is. It's really like you're shooting blind.
The thing that stressed me out the most with the film was its exposure, like not getting immediate feedback, which I'd always been used to, knowing when my shadows were too low or when my highlights were too high. But like when you're moving so fast with film, there are things that can go unnoticed, especially when you don't have immediate feedback. So that was a benefit shooting on digital, is I could see really quickly when our exposure changed dramatically within a scene or within a take even, because the sun's moving in and out of trees, light is falling in different places. We'd go from being backlit to front lit. We'd get sunspots and shadows really rapidly throughout the day. And there were so many times that I would notice while we're shooting digitally about how much that is affecting our actual image. And it made me even more nervous about the film, because I'm like, these are things I don't think I noticed as much because I wasn't seeing that immediate feedback. So when we were shooting digital, I felt a lot more confident in the image, and I also felt more nervous in the moment about the image. And I was a lot more of an over-analyzer about things. All of a sudden, I was really aware about the sun in the back. I was really aware about how we needed more negative in the front, or how we needed better contrast ratios. All of a sudden, I felt like I was a lot more clear with what I needed. There's an interesting thing that I felt within myself, because I'm someone that I really do like the organic things to just happen. And I really love that about shooting on film. And I like to be more in the creative space where I'm not so much worried about all the micro details. But also you need to be in those micro details, because if your head's in the clouds too much, then you're gonna miss a lot of stuff. So when you're shooting digital, I find myself a lot more of an analyzer, because there's more to analyze within your image. You get that broader picture when you're composing your image, because you don't really look at the light through the viewfinder as much as you do within the scene and where light falls. And that's probably just like how all cinematographers should work. But I've always kind of viewed that my responsibilities within that frame, not so much the space. And so shooting on film, I felt like I opened more into that, what's the space like that I'm going to use, rather than just my four corners of the frame.
And that is, again, for me, I think it's kind of magical. It's really exciting to see it come through the dailies and get it developed. But for a first-time DP, or in the case for my brother Alex doing this, or for any of us on set, I think we all were a little bit nervous of like, we don't know if everything's in focus, if it's all, exposed correctly, if it's under, if it's over, you know, if we get a hair in the gate, then you're really in trouble.
I felt like there was something intangible like in the air that I couldn't figure out that was different. And it wasn't just because we had more space, it wasn't just because it was the way the camera was built out or the size of it. It wasn't anything like that. It was just an intangible thing.
When it comes to shooting digitally, here's kind of the pros of shooting digitally is obviously the number one thing is accurate monitoring, right? You can see your histogram, you can see it with focus peaking, you make sure it's like rock solid.
So that was nice because when I saw something and I saw that it was in focus, I saw that it was exposed, I didn't have to worry about it so much, because the film, I still was like, you know, who knows what happened with that? Who knows if it works? Maybe we underexposed it like crazy, maybe this light meter doesn't work and it's gonna come back completely wrong or whatever it might be.
In that sense, for the security and the feeling of like, we got this and we can move on, definitely digital wins hands down over film. In that sense, it takes the adrenaline out of it. So the kind of downside of shooting digitally, we kind of just felt like a little deflated, like, oh, all right, press the big button and just let it record. Everyone did a great job, obviously, but you just don't feel that same amount of like adrenaline, that same amount of like, we have to really, everyone has to be on their A game when we're ready to roll. It kind of causes a little bit of a slower set, obviously, because you can just shoot and shoot and shoot. Yeah, it's very safe and secure. When you shoot on film, I want us to kind of push the boundaries. I want us to be a little risky and be non-traditional in that sense. This whole film's that way, so I felt like it was appropriate to shoot on a format that made us act accordingly like that.
Action.
I'm breaking the stick to scare Beau over
It's
here.
only for the people who notice it. But it's fine.
Yeah,
We ready for take?
it's a deep cut.
Let's get a
30 seconds.
I got a broken mic.
audio.
Oh, that.
Derek,
Do I need to change anything?
Yeah, so working with Beau was a cool new experience. Well, one, it was like a total shift for us because now we're shooting modern day sequences. So hello?
Reset. Keep rolling.
I can be the one saying hello to it,
Get a
maybe.
new stick.
Hey, but Beau, that was great. Good look. I like you're meeting me right in my eyes. I like that. Let's do that.
Okay, and
Hello?
that's a cut.
Okay. All right. What's the next scene?
That worked as well as the last.
31.2.
It just had a different tone shift totally. And then we have this one of the big scenes of him being introduced as a character. It's essentially a oneer in the car that he comes in, and he has this discussion with his wife on the phone. And I was a little nervous for Beau because the way we had to shoot this with the timing, we made the decision, let's just do it on a oneer. Let's do a push in, going through the window, and kind of go on into his space and just be there with him.
I want to make sure we catch. He's throwing a quarter, so you're not seeing it come out.
Well, it doesn't really fit coming off. We have to do maybe a separate shot when he throws it out the window. Like when we do the insert cut, we'll probably get it off coming off.
I got you.
So this is just the wide.
How's that showing?
This is just the wide.
This
right
is
now.
this is the wide.
Yeah,
I'm flagging
this is the wide.
on. All right.
All the way around the alphabet.
Okay, so are we confident? For
We're going for first take, guys. Let's
All
go.
right.
Let's go for gold.
Hey,
28, take one, Mark.
Slick. Set.
Action.
Probably did like 6 takes, which is like an insane amount for us for this film. We're like 2 or 3 usually. I got confidence in Beau, and I think Beau was getting confidence in himself as well, and really coming into his character more. And it was kind of a major moment because I think the early morning, starting the kind of simple stuff we were doing with him, there was a lot of like stop and go, and I just feel like he was kind of in his head a little bit, and I could have done better to help him get there a little faster. But that scene was critical for us to be able to finish out his day. So after we wrapped, we're gonna do lunch and then hit our first cabin and then hit the other cabin in the end, which is the beautiful location that we'd scouted.
We are on day 3 of 4 for production for Lone Mountain, and this is kind of the last bit of our shoot today. It's been a crazy day again, but we are here. We're actually be shooting both cabins. I'll show you in a second. There's 2 here, but we got one that's right over here, and then we got one that's another bigger one over there. We're using most of the interior on this cabin. However, there is another door over there that we're going to be shooting out of because we get this vista instead of this vista with like a highway and fence and stuff like that. So we're making decisions, making choices. We're a little bit behind still, but we're making ground on getting to the final shot with Adeline and Jed on the mystic Lone Mountain cabin. So I'm very excited for that.
During this time, we realized with our remaining shots that we are going to be very hard pressed to hit up both these locations and be able to make before the sun goes down. And then just to be clear, if we didn't get them on this day, we weren't able to wrap on them before we rolled. Before the sun went down, we were going to be in a lot of trouble because we only had one more day afterward, but we didn't have time to do this. Derek turns to me and says, hey, we are at this point in time not going to be able to probably hit the scenes here of the final sequence with Mills inside the cabin, and we also need to shoot the scenes with Jed outside the cabin. He had this brilliant idea, and I'm glad he suggested this. He says, I think we should split up into 2 units.
That at first is of course kind of intimidating because giving off responsibility to other people.
No director wants to have any part of their film not be directed by them, but I will just say that this just shows the trust that I had in the people we had hired, people we had part of the project. Alex had the same trust in the team members, and it was just part of the circumstance that we had to do it.
It's unfortunate that we had to do this because both sequences were really important to the film, to the story, but it was also a necessity because we were running out of time. We couldn't roll over something into another day. It just wasn't going to make sense. We had a time to be here. We also had a time that we needed to be there, and we had stuff to get tomorrow. So we really needed to get all of this done.
I was gonna stay at the cabins that were there and do all the interior sequences with Beau, our modern day character, and then I was gonna be there with Joseph, who's gonna be acting as our DP on this first unit. And Joseph is actually a professional DP. We were very lucky to have him as a gaffer on this project, and he was more than capable of shooting on the RED we had.
What are we doing now?
We're splitting up. We're shooting the end of the film basically.
Without me.
Without him. They're getting the film. This is our. This is how we're gonna be sitting. Me and Ricky.
Man, both of you are gonna fit in there?
Not in this one seat.
He's on the other side. Okay, well, good luck.
Thank you. So when you are under the director and the director says, I need you to go just get this without me there, you just hope that you are in line. And luckily, me and Tanner, as brothers, me and Tanner understood visually what we were trying to get with this film. And I did not doubt leaving Joseph with Tanner at all. Joseph is an amazing DP. I did not hesitate at all going with Derek because I know that Derek is also a great director himself with a great visual style. And I thought this was going to be a great exercise because I hadn't really ever worked with directors other than Tanner. And working with someone and collaborating in a way that's very spontaneous, on the go, really kind of run and gun, was really exciting.
The part that's kind of scary about all this is the fact that because it's on film, I was not going to be able to see the dailies until we got them developed and scanned, and that was going to probably be months from the time that I got to see what actually was shot on that day. So if it came back and it was awful and I hated it, then I would be like, too bad, so sorry.
Me, Dave, Derek, and Ricky hopped in this van that was loaded with gear, and we drove to our spot. And when we got to our spot, it was beautiful. It was just this like beautiful open sky, because we knew the sun was going down. We knew we had to capture a very important scene with Dave, and we knew we had to capture a very important scene with Adeline.
So we wrapped up Mills at the cabin interiors, and now we are about to head to Mills, shooting out Mills exterior at the cabin, which is 17 minutes away. So gotta say, at the same time, in the same light, this is me being artsy-fartsy a little bit, both these sequences were being filmed. And in the film, these sequences are actually happening simultaneously in the film as well.
In this moment, this cabin is where both characters are kind of convening at the end of the film. The way we had 2 different locations, 2 different units, 2 different formats, we actually were able in that same instance replicate that what's happening on screen in the way we shot it. So the same sun you see going down in both sequences for both characters, that is the same time, the same day, the same sunset that you see, and it's happening on the set on the day of us shooting that. That's the way it's going to end up being in the film.
Again, we shoot things to be poetic on the film and the story, which people view it and experience it. But this, for us as the filmmakers and the actors, have that experience of being able to do that simultaneously. I think it's kind of beautiful. Now I hope to go to this site and go block and shoot out some Madeline sequences before we finish now.
It was important for me in this film to allow these crew members to have their moment with the camera, because it is such a, you know, exhilarating experience. It's something that I love, and I thought, you know, other people would probably enjoy it as well. It was something that I like loved so much that I like wanted to have other people experience it. Like I wanted to like live through their moment of shooting it with it and seeing the gate move and then having it stop. And so it sounds kind of cheesy, but like I got so much joy from like seeing Tanner hold the camera. I got a lot of joy from seeing Travis and Joseph and Ricky and Derek have the camera, because it was like this moment where we're all part of this film, and I want us all to feel like, you know, there's my shot. I wanted people to feel like that they had their moment where it really was all their shot and that they owned that.
To say in short, we had a little bit of an extra trick up our sleeves when it came to the stock we were going to be using, and when it came to the sequences of the memories of our character Jed. We had teased the idea a lot about shooting on an expired film stock. One, it being actually a lot cheaper to shoot on expired stock. That was a bonus because we were looking to minimize our costs significantly for this film. More than the fact that it was cheaper to get that kind of stock, we actually thought it was a really cool idea to shoot a memory sequence that you see in the film on an expired stock, so it has a character and a quality to it where it's actually deteriorating and it's actually losing its ability to maintain those images, and it's more beat up.
So we found a roll of Ektachrome that expired in 2009. So that's 14 years ago. So I can't believe we did this. So just to like add more risk to the whole situation, we're shooting on film, but then we're also shooting on Ektachrome, which is different than shooting on your normal standard, you know, negative film. Expired 14-year-old Ektachrome, which we were like, oh, it's just expired from 2009. At least it's not like 1976 like everything else we were finding on eBay.
Here's one, for instance, that I actually bought. This is Kodak Ektachrome 40, and this was still wrapped in the box from November 1975. So we're talking like 50 years plus old stock. At this point, this has not been frozen. This has not been well kept or in a refrigerator. So I guarantee you, if you ended up trying to develop this, it would just be noise. It probably wouldn't hold any image at all, and it would be completely ruined. And so with the other stock that we found that was not as far gone and not as expired, and it was from someone that said it was in a freezer, which made me a lot more confident that it was going to maintain most of its integrity. A couple things really exciting about this is that actually it's almost kind of like we're shooting on a specialized format. It's a different type of format on film we're shooting for those specific sequences, and Alex and I got really excited about doing that because we just thought it was for the story, it helped us on the budget, and it was going to be a really fun experiment to shoot on another stock besides just our Vision 3.
So that was bold, but it was also really exciting because Ektachrome exposes different. You don't have as much range in your highlights, you don't have as much range in your shadows. It's important to nail that exposure.
Ektachrome has been made popular lately because of the series Euphoria, and it has a very distinct look to it that's baked into the image. If you imagine shooting with a LUT, that's what it is. It's like the Ektachrome look and the Ektachrome stock.
Me and Tanner have talked multiple times after this moment how we really wish we got so much more of this. Because really, the Ektachrome is beautiful. I mean, when we got those dailies back, I felt so confident in so many of the areas that it worked. There were areas that it was a learning experience, and we saw where we missed, or we saw that, okay, like exposing that way didn't really work. When it worked, it was just gorgeous. It was beautiful, and it was really enjoyable. Now, would I shoot with it again? I would, but it would have to be for very specific reasons. I just wish we spent more time on it. I wish we slowed down a little bit, thought more, and got a lot more of it.
But again, it was another risk we took because these are important sequences in the film, and we don't know. We hadn't tested this stock that we had I bought from eBay, and so it could come back and it could be complete trash and unusable. But at the same time, whatever it ends up being, it's kind of cool, and we're gonna run with that and make it his memory, and that's gonna be the way it's the way we're gonna present his memories, so to speak. Now, as the day was kind of wrapping out and we were kind of finishing, we had a very exciting moment happen to us that I will never forget. We now had to shoot only Mill's exterior shots, our modern day character, outside of the cabin, and it was kind of last shots of the day.
The sun was setting, so we had like the last shot. We had the last couple of moments that were super, super important, and so we had to move really, really fast.
Let's go, let's go. This is POV, action cam, baby. POV action cam.
Okay, his last shot of the day.
There goes the sun.
Let's take off the Andy. Okay, you take off the Andy. I'll take off the Andy. Have him pause, take a look for about 3 seconds, and then he walks off. Looks at the stuff and then walks off. Where you are, Jordan. That's good.
Ooh, let's go, buddy.
Let's go, everybody.
Like, we were moving so quick that I was trying to get my imp frame. The camera was set on the ladder and I couldn't get it. I needed to get it up a little bit, and the only thing I could think of was grass.
I need something to put in the back, barely. I need those like
So I had someone grab me a bunch of grass from the ground to stuff under the camera so that I could get it set up where I wanted to get my horizon straight.
All right. And let me know when you're ready, Alex.
Okay, ready?
And camera.
Camera speed.
Action.
Jordan Roper, the executive producer, over by the cabin, we hear him yelling at us, and we look over at him, and he always sees this tiny little guy over there pointing over.
Oh, missed. Holy shiz.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, swing over to him.
And we look, all of us look over, and we see this.
Keep walking.
This blanket of fog slowly setting in on our whole scene, and it's just like this amazing gift that nature's just giving us and just handing to us in this moment. The sun is literally at golden hour.
What is happening right now?
It's almost like someone just fired a gunshot.
We all jump off and we just start booking it.
What's happening?
All the actors are running through this field. It's like the Little House on the Prairie.
We gotta get the right scene. It's our film up here.
I'm kind of frantically running around. I'm giving, Mill's direction. They did this and this, and then you're gonna walk, blah, blah, blah. And I'm trying to give them direction, and then Ricky and Alex are setting up frantically.
So chaotic, it was so fast. And it felt like I was 12 years old again, and we're making a film in my backyard.
I feel so bad for Beau because he's just like, okay, this is your moment, this is what we're doing. Okay, ready? And we set it down and action. And we all just get super deathly quiet, and we just walk, and we watch him do that last shot of him walking off through the fog. He started going off a little bit too far the wrong way because we didn't have any blocking before. We're like, no, go right, the other way, this way, go this way, Beau, this way. And he's like, then he corrects and goes out the other way. And then he goes, and I say, cut. And then we cut. And we all come together, and we cheer, and we get so excited. We're like, oh my gosh, that was the coolest thing ever.
Grab our stuff, our ladder and whatever.
Yeah, they're along.
It would have been very picturesque.
Oh man, that was exhilarating. Wow, coming in clutch at the end.
Oh, that was fun. Just running.
Literally running up the hills, all of us together.
It's as running gun as you get. Got some great moments in there.
And we got everything we wanted.
Well, it was nuts. It was just nuts. As soon as he started walking out, it was like,
Yeah.
it was like, keep walking.
For like 30 seconds.
Please stop. Keep everybody going.
It was definitely the highlight of the whole film shoot. It felt like incredibly freeing. I was running around with an SR2, which is a dream of mine. I was there with that camera in Montana with these beautiful mountains, this beautiful cabin, this beautiful sunset, this beautiful fog that God had gifted us. It was just amazing.
Ever had that happen on set before with young?
Oh, 12 people sprinting at me and screaming, dust flying. Oh my God, it was something. Never again, probably. That was awesome.
That was amazing.
This is why we make movies. This is why we do this craft and go through all the time and the pain and the struggling and the money, and like you do it for this like moment of euphoria. We were like, wow, we are making something truly magical. This little moment that just happened on location where fog rolls in, we just like decide we're gonna go get the shot and we're gonna get it with the fog before it runs away, even though we got like 3 minutes to get it done, and we just grab the camera and run. And that's indie filmmaking. Nothing really in this whole 4 days I think epitomizes what it was, the excitement, the joy, and the fun that comes for indie filmmaking and shooting on film and trying to get it in one take in that moment on day 3. And so that's the way the day ended for us. I still get so stoked about thinking about what that was like in that moment. We ended up being basically back on track, but really all the essential stuff that we had to get for day 3 to get us to where we were like absolutely had to get done, we got it. I turned to Derek, he looked at me, and we're like, wow, I think we're gonna finish this film. And that's a great moment when you have that. You're like, okay, we're gonna get the film done. We're gonna get it in the can. That's gonna be really good. Because we have too much at risk already. God willing, everything comes out developed great in the can, what we shot. Day 3 of the 4 days was the day where we were able to get back on track. We were able to kind of get back in the ring, so to speak, and get back on top in the end for us to finish it. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll catch you on for day 4.